And so I'm going to take a seat with you because as I explained earlier, we're doing things a little differently today. And so what we're offering is what we call a kind of mini sermon and mini retreat, designed to and offered to kind of restore you, kind of lift you up, build you up when you need it most. And so while preparing for today's reflection and mini retreat, I remembered thoughts I shared with you on stewardship a few years ago. Quoting Gwendolyn Brooks, Langston Hughes, a comedian and a U.S. senator, I teased out the meaning of stewardship as the goal of our mutual thriving in community. I remembered also my offering just a few weeks back, where I preached on servant leadership. I suggested then that the world we say we want to make requires each of us to take responsibility for the birthing of that new reality. Well, you know where I'm going with this. It all boiled down to service, our love and care one for the other. This theme is woven to me in and through our gospel reading. So here today, a reading from Mark's gospel. One of the scribes came near and heard the Sadducees disputing with one another, and seeing that Jesus answered them well, he asked him, "Which commandment is the first of all?" Jesus answered, "The first is, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. The second is this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these." Then the scribe said to him, "You are right, teacher. You have truly said that he is one, and besides him there is no other. And to love him with all the heart and with all the understanding and with all the strength, and to love one's neighbor as oneself. This is much more important than all whole burnt offerings and sacrifices." When Jesus saw that he answered wisely, he said to him, "You are not far from the kingdom of God." After that, no one dared to ask him any question. Jesus answers the question of a young scholar by naming the first commandment, what is deemed undisputed in priority and significance for a life lived in pursuit of faith. Love God, heart, soul, mind, and strength. But to that first command, Jesus quickly adds the second. You shall love your neighbor as yourself, almost as if one can never truly achieve the first without acknowledging and fulfilling the call to love that exists between oneself and the other. The Shema is, simply put, a statement of our allegiance to God and the most basic instruction for how we are to be as we live out that promise. Love God, Jesus says, but turn that love outward. That love is not fulfilled if we do not love those around us. This is the hard and holy work of walking the path, the basis of Christian life, loving and embracing God, one's family and community, our neighbors, and especially those in need. So we love God from the outpouring of God's love for us. We love wholly and completely, heart, soul, mind, and strength. Life in God's kingdom demands that outpoured posture. We love ourselves. We understand our value and worth in God's sight. And from that space of confidence, and only from that space of confidence, are we charged with the task of neighborly love. We love all because of and out of God's love for us. Now, because the world at times feels neither good or safe, It's challenging to hear that love is both foundation and goal. How can that be? It's right there under our feet, but yet we do not have enough. At what sometimes feels like the end of the world, a time of multi-layered crises, of personal and collective burnout, how do we hear a text like this? Beyond a rote platitude, the correct answer for a question? How can we embody the heart of this text, giving meaning and substance to something we've all heard before? How can we fully embrace this holy work? In a world of increasingly caustic division, and with each of us hearing and experiencing in different ways the cost of this global and sustained political instability, and imagining the consequences of our collective choices in the right now, the breakdown of trust, is what we're asking or being asked even possible? That answer isn't an easy one, but I do believe that we can make our way to a personal and intimate yes. As we make plans for survival, for whatever comes next, I see Jesus' response not as unrealistic idealism, but as remembrance, wisdom whispered words, words to hold on to as we steward ourselves and our communities, as we cultivate hope in the world in which we live today, a world that feels at present quite far from the kingdom Jesus proclaimed. I offer them as the how-to of survival for any believing community. And so today's practice is an invitation to explore, to open ourselves to this holy work, to the listening, to the attention, to the vulnerability, to the labor, what it means to be in covenant and solidarity with God and neighbor. I offer it as medicine for the days leading up to this election and the promise of life beyond. So, get comfortable in your seats. If you are more than 3 people in a pew, I invite you to spread out because you're going to need space. So maybe do that little check and make sure you have arms distance to be able to use that. And we're going to engage both a contemplative and some more active postures in 3 phases. We'll practice presence, we'll practice care, and we will offer and receive help. So, just a few notes as we begin. As I said, make sure you're seated in a pew nice and comfortable. You're invited to participate as you are able and as you desire. If for you today, the moment is to just sit back and, as we say, chill out, do that. You are most welcomed. If you'd like to, and I do invite you to, dabble in as you can, really participate as you can, because it is the offering, it is a gift and an offering to you today. I'll begin with a body scan, with a little breath work, a few individual postures, and finally we'll do a communal gathering as we step out of these pews. So I'm just giving you the little prep, right? So don't worry about right side, left side. You don't have to follow me like that. Just make sure you get to do both sides when invited to. And there's no really right or wrong with the postures. The real work is engaging in embodied practices that will help you to expand your capacity to develop spiritual heft. And this is what we need and desire. So if you also have children this morning, I invite you to feel free to get down on that floor with them, hug them when you have the opportunity, do a little circle with them. Whatever is working for you, it will be a blessing to your child as you kind of collect them that way. I think that's it for the instructions, and so we're going to begin. So you find that comfortable seat. And so that means feet placed hip-width apart. Your toes are spread. So we're going from the bottom up to the top. So toes are spread. arches are lifted. I like to think of these kind of angles, and so the top of my foot and my shin are making this nice right angle, right? And so lift those arches, feel the earth beneath you. If you are feeling comfortable enough, I invite you to close your eyes right away. If you need time to do that, but if you can, drop in by just closing your eyes and removing any visual stimulation for the moment. Just follow my voice. And so those toes are spread, arches lifted. You're making this connection with the earth beneath you, the ground beneath you. And you are connected to it as a sure thing. This is our grounding. And so let that surety, that confidence rise as you feel that spirit-filled energy. Just kind of make its way up your calves, up the shins, the front of your legs. And so we're just at the lower legs now, right? It kind of swirled around. You can imagine it swirling around your ankles, around your shin, your calf. Maybe you can take your hands and find that little space behind your knees and give a little massage. Because what we're doing it now is kind of waking up, right? And then return those hands to just a comfortable position at the tops of your thighs. And so your thighs, right? You've got this nice length of muscle. And so you can take the heels of your hand and maybe just press from your hips out towards your knees, right? Just massage a little using the heel, what they call the heel of your hand. Just a couple more times. This will be the last one. And then just find that comfortable place for your hands again. And so we plug our sits bones into the seat beneath us. And so we're going to be plugged into it, right? Right and left. So we're not going to lift up the left hip or the right unevenly. We're going to be plugged in, sure and solid. From here, take your hands and place them at your belly. The belly, your core, as it were, is a powerful place of discernment. And we always like to pause here to engage with that. So the thought is just navel to spine, right? Think about your navel reaching, yearning towards your spine, and that will engage those stomach muscles. We're not thinking tight like a fist, we're thinking engaged and aware. Just take one deep breath here, sealing your lips and breathing in. And again, out through the nose. One more time, keep those lips sealed. In. And exhale out. So you felt that rise and fall of your body. And now we're going to take that energy and we're going to think about the spine. And we're going to allow it to grow as we sit up on our legs and stand or sit tall, rather. And so shoulders are down. You can release your hands to the tops of your thighs to be in a little more relaxed posture, but keep everything in these angles, right? Top of the foot, shin, top of the thigh, torso. Keep those nice angles. Circle your shoulders up, around, and back to shine your chest forward. So your spine is long, your neck is an extension of that. And as you are arriving, thinking about the top of your head, just tilt your chin down just a little bit so that the crown of your head is parallel to the sky. And so we've arrived in this position of what I call active awareness. From this posture, we say to God that we are open, that we are listening, that we are ready to receive, we are awake, present to the possibilities, tuned in, heart, mind, soul, strength. We remember ourselves as beloved of God and with courage remain awake. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. titled what would become his final sermon, Remaining Awake Through the Great Revolution. Think about that for a second. Remaining awake through the Great Revolution. In it, he encouraged us to resist the tendency to become numb, complacent, to resist inaction in the face of struggle. Part of our holy work then is to engage, to stay awake, that we might see and bear witness, that we might stay present. So just in your mind's eye, review from the top to the bottom, from the soles of your feet, through your ankles, your shins, your calves, your kneecaps, that little spot behind your knee, your thighs, quads, hamstrings, sits bones plugged in, sure, core engaged, navel to spine, spine long and growing, shoulders down, chest forward, chin relaxed so that the top of your head is truly parallel to the sky. And just here, we're going to stay for maybe 2 minutes. And I know those 2 minutes may feel like a long time, but it's going to be okay. And the invitation for this 2 minutes is just to stay awake, to keep this posture of awareness and just keep checking in on your breath. Make that connection with your breath. Just easy, free, peaceful breath. And so we'll begin now, just 2 minutes. If this is feeling challenging for you, Just keep coming back to the breath as your home base. Your mind may be running with thoughts of what's going to happen this evening and what you have to do tomorrow and the email you have to send, but for now, just keep coming back to the breath. Let that thought just pass by and come back to your breath. What we're doing is giving our nervous system a chance to recover and to just focus on the breath. And so this isn't just meditation to me. This is the be still and know. So just a little longer. Just 2 more deep breaths and we'll return from this space. Keep your posture. Re-engage it if you lost it for a moment. And slowly open your eyes. This is how we practice being clear and present, how we gain the heft that we need to be spiritual beings and to act spiritually, not in just words. And so we don't get to have control over every outcome, but we do get a say in how we respond to the world around us, how we'll walk through the thing, how with grace we'll move. And so next we'll practice what I'm going to call taking care, and that begins with you. So remembering your value and worth in God's sight, your belovedness, we show up, you show up for yourself. This big love that God speaks of includes us. It includes you. So your body has its own wisdom, and you can learn its language just by tapping in and staying connected to it with simple movements. So as best you can, as often as you can, say no to stress by practicing its release from your body. Octavia Rahim puts it this way: we come here to the practice to be undone, to be woven, and to be made new. So I'm going to guide you in a few postures. Keep that stance of with your feet parallel, hip width apart. But you can be a little more relaxed as you follow the movements. And so we're just going to begin with head circles, And so we'll drop the chin to the chest. And just slowly going to the right. I'm going to the right, but if you realize you went to the left, all good. We're back center. Around to the left. And dropping down, chin to chest. We'll do that again. Just slowly connecting with your body and what it might have to say to you. We'll reverse that, and so if you went right, you go left, and if you went left, you go right. Stay tall. And one last time. All the way to the back, keep your shoulders down. Around to the side and drop down. Just pause here with your chin to your chest. And then with intention, lift your chin and just look straight forward. We're going to take the right hand and we're going to place it on the left side of your head. And if you're the other side, it's okay, we're going to do the other side. So your hand is on the opposite side of your head. You're right by your ear, right? Your palm is open. And we're just going to sit up and then just guide your head over. So you're not pulling, you're leading. So we're keeping all of this long. Keep all of that long. Sit up tall. Keep the right shoulder down, the left shoulder down. Just feel that strength, that length rather. Take a deep breath here. And on the exhale, let it drop a little deeper. And then release the hand and let your head float back to center. And so whatever side you did, I'm going to invite you to do the other side. And so take that palm, right? Just place it on the opposite side of your head. Sit up tall. So my shoulders are down. My elbow is out to the side. And I'm just going to lift and lean. Just guide your head over nice and gentle. And so now it's the opposite, or for me, it's the right side that is being lengthened. So if your head is to the left, your right behind your ear, the length of your neck and your right shoulder are getting that nice extension. And if you're on the other side, you'll be receiving those benefits on the opposite side. So feel your shoulders down. Don't let your elbow come forward. Keep it open. Engage your core. Think navel to spine. All of these principles build one upon the other, so try to hold on to them as best you can. Take a deep breath. And exhale, let yourself float down a little bit further. And then release the hand and feel your head just float back up to center. Raise your arms above you and clasp your hands, pressing your palms to the ceiling. And so keep the navel to spine, keep your shoulders down. Just play around in your body right now for a second just to feel what it feels like for you. And so your torso is lifting up out of your pelvic girdle. You feel your right and left sides nice and long. Keep the palms parallel to the sky, to the ceiling. And while we're here, we're going to lift up and just lean to the right or left, whichever one you went to. All good. Release that hand and then put the hand on your thigh just to support you as you go over a little deeper. Just a little deeper. You can hold on to the edge of your seat to help support you as you lean over a little bit. Yeah. Maybe turn your head to look at the floor. Keep the shoulder down, just nice and long. You should feel that nice kind of separation that's happening. And then come back up. Use your core to do that. Bring your other arm up. Clasp the hands, press. Lift up and lean. So we begin here. And then drop the arm. Let it land. I'm using the edge of my seat to hold on to as it gives me a solid base from which to dive over. Keep your shoulders down. Shoulders down. I had to say that to myself. Shoulders down. Just lean over. Good. And come back up. Bring your arms into what we call a goalpost position. And so your feet are still hip width apart. You're nice and you're in that position of active awareness still. And so what we're going to do is just bring the palms and elbows together. Good. And then open. Shining your chest. So you're opening a little bit further because you want to shine the chest forward. Yes. And then close it. Palms and elbows, palms, forearms, elbows, and open. We'll try to do that again. Close it. Sit up tall. It should feel like work. If it's feeling a little too easy, I'm going to invite you to bring a little more of yourself to it. And close. Elbows touch, palms touch. And open. We'll do one last set. Closing. Sit up tall, navel to spine. We're thinking of all these things, right? And open. Shine the chest forward. Bring your arms, so right arm is crossing over left. And this it won't matter because we're going to do both sides, but you might want to scooch up in your chair a little bit. And we're just going to drop the chin to the chest. And what we're going to be doing is circling your upper back. And so your chin is going to stay nice in this little pocket that you've created. Your head is going to stay there. And you're just going to rotate your upper back. Keep your head inside as best you can. You're just going around. It should feel really good. And so just on your own time, sitting up and just thinking of your upper back and shoulders. We'll just do a couple more this side and then we'll switch. Whatever one this is going to be the last one on this side. And just pause when you get to the center. And just let yourself drop down for a second. Release the arms onto the tops of your thighs. Just pause here for a second. Collect your breath. Take 2 deep breaths and we'll continue. And then using your core, sit back up. And I'm going to place the left hand over the right. And if you did the opposite, you know what to do, right? And so we'll just drop that chin and head inside. And we're going to the left now. If you went right, you're left. And just thinking about, try to articulate that, right? This is just, they call it controlled articulation. So just around a couple of times, thinking only of your upper back, right? just a few times. Let the next one be your last. And release the hands to the thighs. And just pause here for a second. You are beloved of God. And because of that, you show up for yourself. For sure, we're going to show up for others, but it has to begin with caring for oneself, strengthening oneself, developing the practices that will enable you to go out into the field, to be the person that's on the front lines or whatever lines you're on, because we're not all called to the front lines. But in whatever area of service that belongs to you, that you are called to, you've got to remember to care and to care for yourself and to show up for yourself. And so inhale and just rise up. This big love that God speaks of includes you and me. And so from this goalpost position, we'll just do a easy side twist. And so turning to your right, just adjust yourself so that you keep your legs facing forward and you twist, you rotate your spine around this as the axis, right? Your spine is the axis, you rotate around and just look over your right shoulder. And you can use the pews really well to do this. Like they're a solid base to grab onto. Maybe you're holding onto your leg or the side of the pew. If you're not on the side of the pew, I'm sure you can use your leg. I'll use my leg so that I can demonstrate it. So you're hanging onto the back of the pew, keeping your shoulders down and just looking over that right shoulder or left as it may be. Keeping your navel front, keeping your hips squared, sits bones plugged in, your knees are forward. You're not letting that turn with you. So you feel the opposition. You feel the tension. 2 more breaths here. And just release that hold and unwind. We'll do that again from the goalpost position. Just wind yourself around. So you saw that? Wind right around. Yes, yes, and yes. So if you don't have an edge of a seat, use your thigh. And keep your knees facing forward, your belly button is forward. You really just want to get that twist on that axis of your spine. Keep your shoulders down, looking over your left shoulder. Just wring it out. Still sitting tall. 2 more breaths here. And we'll release that and unwind and return to center. Bring your arms back to that goalpost. We'll take the right hand, palm, and just massage for a second. These are practices that you can do at your desk or at home, before getting out of bed, as you go to bed. You can do them on the train, the bus, because I do believe their benefits are cumulative. And so you're just massaging right or left shoulder. I'm using the pads of my fingers to just run like all the way, the length of this top of my shoulder. If you feel any really tense spots, maybe you take your 2 fingers and kind of press into it for a second and hold it, just as a practice of acupressure, right? Just hold it for a second. If not, just continue massaging. And we'll take that hand and grab a hunk of flesh, I like to say, and squeeze. Oh, that feeling. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? And let it go. Shake that hand out. Oh, we're gonna take the other hand and do the other side. So dig in there however you need to. And use the pads of your fingers. Keep your posture now, right? Knees are still forward, feet are hip width apart. Your core is engaged, your spine is still long. And so you can even play around in the back a little bit, like just beyond the top. See what that feels like. And again, 2 fingers for acupressure in any little point that feels sensitive to you. You can just give it a little push the button, right? Or just continue massaging. Take the palm of the hand and grab that hunk of flesh on this side and squeeze. Hold that squeeze and then let it go. And shake that hand out. Return to this posture of active awareness, hands on your thighs, and we'll just do a few cat-cows to work that spine. And so we'll curl in for the cat, right? And arch your spine for cow. So you navel to spine, navel to spine, navel to spine. The head is last. Curl in. Feel that curve in your spine. And then arch your back. So you'll notice my hands are free, right? They're just moving along the length of my leg as I move. Here's the last set. And cow. Arching, arching, arching. Head is last. Return to center. We're going to do a forward fold on your pew. And so you're going to take your hands. This will be our next to last posture. And you're just going to rest your head on your pew. Yeah. I'm going to scooch back and I'm going to, if you'd like to do a little deeper, you can always do what I'm doing here. It's just because I don't have the pew. So just put your head down, arms are crossed. You're kind of holding those elbows and head is down. So as we do practices like this in the sanctuary, we're trying to reimagine what the pews can be for us. And so by doing these practices, hopefully coming to church and sitting in a pew has gained a new level of understanding and a new experience. The pew is your friend, it's your safety, it's your soft space. It can be anyway, right? It can be a place of holding you. And so just collect yourself right here. Let your low back kind of open up as you lean forward. And collect your breath. Give thanks for the strength that you've tapped into. Acknowledge any whisperings from God, any messages that you got about and from your body as you practice today. Just keep your head down. Feeling your low back open up. Just 2 more breaths here. And just take your hands and place them on the top of your thighs and push yourself up and land right back in that posture of awareness, right? And I'm going to invite you to stand. And we'll engage what we call mountain pose. It's a standing posture of awareness. So your feet are still hip width apart. Your toes are spread. Your arches are lifted. Your shoulders are down. Kind of re-engage whatever you need to re-engage. Your chest is just a bit forward. Yes. Yes. And so our third phase is the reminder that we helped and are helped. So no matter what happens on Tuesday or any day, we're going to need each other. We're going to need each other to hold each other up and to be accountable. We're going to need each other as support for whatever comes next. It will take communal courage, wisdom, and fortitude, a grounded faith that centers our commitment to God and to each other. And that's just it, point blank, period, right? In addition to what it will mean for us individually, I think, what will matter most, though, in the days ahead is how our lived spirituality impacts others. People are watching us. Our children are watching us.